with some good news. The good news is, as I've written down below my face here, no home teams have won, and the Golden Knights now only have one home game left in the series. So, in theory, they should still be in the driver's seat. I don't feel that way anymore. Certainly not like I felt after Game 2. Maybe I got a little overconfident in Game 2. You would think after 6 years of playoff appearances and many runs to the Stanley Cup Finals and the Conference Finals and all of this that I would understand the swings and ups and downs of playoff series, but apparently I do not. Nonetheless, let's get into this particular game. What went right for the Golden Knights? What went wrong for the Golden Knights? Obviously, more ends up going wrong. The third period is the one that bugs me of any of it. I kind of liked Vegas's first period for the most part. I think the physicality aspect was a little bit too much for me in this particular game. I think a lot of times we get these situations where a team will lose or they get back home or they have these opportunities to potentially smash the other team into the glass, and you end up running yourself off of pucks. You end up taking yourself out of plays and giving them easier plays despite the fact that it hurts, right? Like, I don't necessarily think this team, Golden Knights, need to play with over-the-top physicality to beat the Dallas Stars. I don't think they need to be putting Logan Stankoven through the wall. I don't think they need to be running these defensemen on these plays behind the goal as opposed to trying to get sticks on pucks and make hard plays and cause turnovers and get the puck to the front of the goal. Vegas did not play in front of the goal nearly enough in this particular game to feel comfortable enough to actually win this one. That's what bugs me the most. You then see the third period. I didn't hate it as much as I think I kind of hated what Dallas did in their third period. I thought Vegas was a little bit more adventurous towards the goal. I thought some of those tip plays just didn't happen, and they were there. Like Hanifin had a couple of opportunities. Hurdle had the chance off to the side. The chances were not like super high danger, but they were putting them in positions to potentially make the right play and execute on the high danger plays. Like, to me, this isn't a situation where I look at this and I say, all right, well, systematically, they're not going to be able to get anything done in that particular scenario. I don't think that's the case. I think systematically they actually weren't in the worst place in that third period. I think the difference was the execution was poor. The execution wasn't at the level that it needs to be at if you're actually going to get this goal against a goalie who's starting to look better and starting to look a little bit scary, because when he gets on, and he's done this in the playoffs before, he's very, very difficult to score against. He didn't make a ton of great saves in this one. He made a lot of the ones that he needed to make, but he did kind of take away any chances that they needed to, that was there. Earlier in the game, like obviously the first period, you have to like a majority of what the Golden Knights were doing. Breakouts are way better. Decision-making up the middle is way better. A lot of the things that plagued them in game 2 or 3 disappeared. That was a huge part of what I was looking for in this game coming in. I know a lot of the talk before the game in the locker room on the broadcast on all these things was a hot start. We got to get off to this hot start. To me, I actually wanted kind of not a slow start, but I didn't care if it was necessarily hot. I wanted solid start. I wanted no mistakes early in the game. If that doesn't necessarily lead to a goal, so be it. But you had to make a play. You had to be able to put yourself in a position where you're not making mistakes early in this particular game. They did a great job of that. I thought they were excellent through the middle of the ice in the first period. I thought they were very good on transition defense. I thought they were doing the right things against those Dallas breakouts up the walls. That forecheck started to build and grow as time went on over and over during that first period. It got better and better and better. We saw more out of Mark Stone. We saw more out of Tomas Hertl. We saw more out of Will Karlsson. I thought Amadio made an impact, obviously scoring the goal. A lot of it was better. It was heading the right direction. Obviously, they chuck one from below the goal line. It hits Logan in the side of the head and goes in the goal. It's disappointing, right? Like, that shot should not go in. I'm not necessarily a goalie expert. I wouldn't even necessarily, probably not even necessary in that sentence. That was a weird way to say that. But I do think that high short side shot starting to look like a little bit of a problem. And they've been doing it time and time again. Johnston hits the game winner. They tried it there. Pavelski tried another one. There was another one where Logan just kind of laid there with the puck behind the goal, and Pavelski's waiting for him to get up to shoot it off his back yet again. Like, they are looking for that, and they are looking for 5-hole. Those are the two things that we've seen, and it has been successful, and they are beating the Golden Knights at 5-on-5 on those types of plays. That's the type of play that's disappointing that one goes in. The other one, which maybe you can argue is a fluke goal, and I will continue to argue as a bit of a fluke goal, I don't take any of the liability off of the Golden Knights for giving it up. Yes, they shoot a puck from the goal line that hits a guy in the shoulder and goes into the goal. Yes, that is disappointing. That is something you wish would not happen in a playoff game. That sucks. That's the game-winning goal. That's disappointing. But the play by Pietrangelo at the blue line is an absolute disaster. Horrendous. I still look at the still frame. I cannot figure out how that play is made. How do you make that play in that situation as they're changing behind you? There's no way. It can't happen. It's a soft little play. Duchesne takes it away from him. They go right up. Jeez, this cup holder is whacking into my knee. They go right back up the ice. They've got this opportunity. They get 1, 2, 3 chances to put themselves in position to score, and it does not happen. They still work. They outwork the Golden Knights underneath the goal, and finally they get one that's shot off of a player who's standing in the blue paint, stopped in the blue paint. That's what you have to do, and Vegas's player is behind him, not in front of him. That's a goal that starts with a mistake. Don't make the mistake. We don't have this problem. I understand you're not going to go mistake-free throughout the course of all of the games. I get that. But the reaction defense, the emergency defense, I will call it, was immensely better in Dallas than it has been here. Why? I do not have a great answer for that. Vegas's sticks were better. Vegas's reaction time was better. Vegas's desperation to get back to those pucks, to skate hard, to get into those lanes was better on the road than it has been here. I don't have a great answer as to why that is the case. This Periscope and all Periscopes are brought to you by the Jimmerson Law Firm. Jimmerson Law Firm is one of Las Vegas' preeminent law firms specializing in high-stakes business, civil, and family litigation when winning matters. Seek out the Jimmerson Law Firm. The Golden Knights now need to win 2 games out of 3, with 2 of them being played in Dallas. They are going to have to win a road game. That apparently does not seem that hard in this series. It's pretty wild that is the case. We've not seen series like this. I predicted a series that would go this way last year, and it did not. It went almost exactly the opposite. This one, I've said it before. I'll say it again. This Dallas team is excellent. They are very, very good, and in my opinion, Pete said it in the last game. I will now say it in this one. I'm not sure I fully believed it after the last game. I will say it now. They are growing. They are getting better in this series. They are getting more comfortable in this series. They are giving up less to everyone but the Golden Knights top line. In this game, the one massive positive that comes out of for me in this game is Vegas constantly was getting 3-on-2s, and those will eventually, as we move forward in the series, pay off a little bit more out of the top line. Eichel constantly was carrying the puck out of his own defensive zone, up through the neutral zone, with at least one of his wingers there and either another defenseman or the other winger. They scored the goal on it with the Marchessault play off the post. They nearly scored the goal on it with the Barbashev awesome opportunity. Literally the rush before. There were chance after chance after chance as we went down. If that is going to continue, Vegas will continue to find more offense at 5-on-5. It's the remainder of the roster that is a slight concern. It's the middle 6 at the moment that so far we have not found that right mix. That's been an issue. Now, last game, I talked a lot about the decision to change up the lines, and I questioned it and I didn't like it. Now I understand it. I do think there is a slight issue because they have not found the correct combination, and they may have to make another change, and I don't know what it necessarily is because Brett Howden's actually been pretty decent in there. Taking him out seems like not the best move. The fourth line's doing the thing that they're normally doing. Can you potentially move them down? Can you put someone else up there with Eichel and Marchessault? I don't know. Do you even want to touch that top line when they've been the one that's been consistent and the middle 6 has not? Carlson, obviously some sort of injury that's not allowing him to take draws. That is a concern. That is why Hertl was moved down to his spot in his line in the last game. It was not we think this is going to be better. It's we need to make this happen. So now you see that and you say, well, that didn't really work. Carlson, that line really was not very good last game. Hertl, probably his worst game as a Golden Knight in game 3. I thought he was a little bit better today, but still, I think his speed or lack thereof is has been a bit of an issue for the Golden Knights so far in this series. It's been a reason why the Golden Knights have not been able to just generate over and over and over, have that 4-line wave that puts the other team under pressure. You think of the best periods for the Golden Knights, maybe the best one, and I wouldn't even go there, is like statistically is the third period in this game. Probably the best periods they've had are starting in the defensive end. It's when they're defending at a much better level than what they've been doing. So to me, not enough zone time out of those middle six. Stone seems to be coming along a little bit, but it's not quite there yet. Stevenson, the speed is not really having that impact. Like when he's at his best, you see him zipping through the neutral zone with the puck on his stick or flying out of the zone, getting that stretch pass hit from either Theodore, Pietrangelo, Hanifin. Stone often hits him. We've seen almost none of that so far in this series. DeBoer's system is going to make it difficult for you to hit those passes if you're not exiting your zone consistently. Vegas has not gotten to that point quite yet to the level of execution that they did, certainly at times in Dallas, but more so looking back to last season when they were doing a lot better on it. The other piece is the defense. It has not been good enough. It hasn't been good enough most of this season. It certainly has not been good enough in these two games. There's obviously the two that are going to jump out. I've already talked about the Pietrangelo one, clearly the Theodore one that kind of kills the game off. Certainly disappointing as well. However, to me, it's more of the lack of offense we're getting from that group. Pietrangelo has not been terribly dangerous offensively in this series. Theodore has been the less dangerous of the players on his pair in this series. Martinez, Whitecloud, we're not getting much outside of long shots that are not all that dangerous, especially because Vegas is not a great tip team. Hertl got the one early in the game. Obviously, we get the one from Matteo, but that's on a rush. They are not great at finding their way to the inside and tipping those pucks. It's not what they're best at. So when those particular plays end up coming down at you, and that's the opportunity that we get from Martinez, from Whitecloud, from Hanifin, from McNabb, that's probably not going to be the style of offense that we need to generate. The other thing, before this series began, at 5-on-5, in my opinion, the best way to beat this defense and disorganize them and give yourself great opportunities is to switch sides of the ice as often as physically possible. That's not happening. They're simply not doing it. There has not been enough. Recycle it back up to the point, zip it across the blue line, and get it back underneath the circles. The Golden Knights are not getting a lot of operating offense below the red line. They are not getting a lot in the circles. They are not overloading a side and taking advantage of some of the things that Dallas will do in their own end. It's not happening, and that's why at 5-on-5, the offense has been limited. They're not generating enough offense at 5-on-5. That's the problem. That becomes an issue if you look at the middle six is not performing even near what the level that they need to, and the fourth line, while generating opportunities, while racking up some of the XG that the team has, probably unlikely to give you much more than maybe one goal the remainder of the season or series. It's probably not going to happen. So the argument comes, and I'm seeing this comment right here, do you mix it up? I think that's tricky. And I think that's tricky because you probably don't want to mess with the top line, which has been working, which has not only been good in their own end and are doing very, very well on Hintz, Robertson, and whoever else is there. Last game it was Johnston. This game it was a little bit more of Pavelski. They've had these different options. They're doing a good job on them, and they're going the other way and generating offense. And they're locking up the transition game coming at them. They're generating transition going the other way. As much as I do believe that there is an argument to move Barbashev down and try to get him in a position where the forechecking actually grows with the other lines in the group, I don't necessarily think I'm touching that line. So now you've got 9 other players. You cannot use Will Karlsson as a center, or at least not as draws, so you have to have another center on this line with him. I think if there's anything that would make sense to me, it would be put Karlsson in between Stone and Stevenson. I think that potentially could be something that will work. Stevenson can take the draws. You now have a defensive center. You've got 2 speed players playing with Stone more so than what we've gotten with Hertl. I said this before when they got Hurdle. I was concerned that Hurdle would not necessarily be up to speed. He has not played important games. He has not played a lot of games at all. He has not played games with this team all that often. Basically just six, I think it was 6 in the regular season and now the 4 here in the playoffs. I was concerned that we may not get the elite play from him consistently. I was actually a little bit more concerned defensively. It's cropping up offensively a little bit more. He has not been terribly impactful outside of on the power play directly in front of the goal. I was hoping at 6-on-5 they would funnel a few more pucks into him. He could hold the puck off. There was that one chance off to the side of the goal, but as a whole, it hasn't been enough. So do you find a way to put him in a different position, put him with different wingers, presumably faster players? That did not necessarily work in this particular game. Carlson's fast, Amadio's fast enough. They did get that one transition chance, so you can't say they got nothing, but I don't necessarily think there's a great place for him. Looking at what the team is doing at the moment, I don't see that perfect place unless you want to take that risk, throw him up there on that top line with Eichel and Marchessault and figure it out. I'm seeing this comment here, where has 81 been? Well, 81 shot the puck off the post that led to one of the Golden Knights' goals. 81 was up there on the rush consistently. I don't think the first line has been a problem. I think if you want to pick on problems in these two games, the problems are puck management, not sealing off the walls in game 3, and today, limited offense at 5-on-5. That was the same thing in the last game as well. And I don't think the defensemen are defending at the level that they need to. They are taking away some of the transition that Dallas is getting, but they're not getting the offense that you potentially could get. They're not getting those big-time plays, those stretch plays, those plays that generate offense from Vegas's defense. When the Golden Knights are defending at a high level, that usually generates offense going the other way. In this series, it has not. There have been a few 3-on-2 rushes. There have been a few opportunities, but it has not been enough. As far as Dorofeev, we could talk about Dorofeev here. I know people are kind of harping for him to get in there. Well, they took out the player that made the most sense to take out in Anthony Mantha. He comes out. The decision is, do we want to put in the guy who actually plays on that side, or do we switch the kid to allow him to have his first postseason game? The decision was to go with Amadio. Amadio rewarded that decision. He scored. He ain't coming out for game 5. There's no way. Could you potentially decide to take out Will Karlsson? Yes, I wouldn't. I think he's going to get healthier as time goes on. I think he's a very important player to how they're defending. I think he's big in their transition defense. I think he's going to get better. He's going to give good options. So who else comes out? You could say Howden, but someone has to go into that spot, and Howden's actually been pretty darn good. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me to take him off of the line when he has certainly not been the problem on that line. Would not make a lot of sense to me to move him. He plays with Karlsson on this game. I thought he was decent again in this game. I understand the argument for Dorofeev getting back into the lineup, but Dorofeev is not a generator. Dorofeev is the type of player that will score the opportunity when that's presented to him. Yes, he is better than Brett Howden at that. Dorofeev is not a great forechecker. Dorofeev is fine defensively, but we have not seen him in this situation, in this playoffs types atmosphere. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know how that's going to go. I understand the decision to not play Dorofeev. I don't see a fit for him at this moment, but it would not shock me if he finds his way into the lineup. I had a number of people also talking to me about, do you bench Pietrangelo? Do you bench Theodore? Do you go down that road? I don't think that's going to happen. I would not do that either. To me, it's very similar to pulling your goalie to try to wake up the team. Yes, maybe that guy's not having a particularly good series, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. The overall top-level talent that you're going to get out of Alex Pietrangelo, that you're going to get out of Shea Theodore, is better than what's going to come out of Hutton. Yes, I understand that Hutton has been good. Yes, I understand that Hutton has an argument to be in the lineup. But if he's going to be in the lineup, it would have to be over Whitecloud, Hague, or Martinez. Hague is out. Martinez and White probably been better or more consistent in these last 2 games than their other players in front of them. I would absolutely not take one of those defensemen out, Pietrangelo or Theodore. I would 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% not Go to Aiden Hill on Wednesday. He has not played for an extended period of time. He was bad in his games down the stretch. He was bad in the game that forced us to have this Dallas series in the first place. Logan Thompson has been good, arguably great. He was phenomenal in Game 3. He was good again here in Game 4. I do not think that even though there are some goals you can look at and say, I wish those had not gone in, to me, blaming the goalie in this situation is absolutely ludicrous and should not even be considered at all. There is no way I'm playing anyone but Logan Thompson in Game 5, and I think we're far enough into the series and we've seen enough success out of him that there is no way that I'm playing Logan Thompson or anyone but Logan Thompson in either Game 6 or Game 7. It just does not make sense to me to go to a goalie 2 weeks later who has not been all that good. If there is the opportunity to get him in there late in one of these games, and that's a situation we end up with like we had last year, fine, maybe I'll change my mind. But right now, no, I would absolutely not go to him. Any other questions? Go ahead and put the comments in the chat there. I am on my way to Dallas in about 7 or 8 hours from right now, so I'm going to keep this one a little bit short. Plus, we got more games coming up. We got at least 2 more games. We're going to at least 6 games in this bad boy. We will see. How do I see the next 3 games coming out? I still think the Golden Knights are fine. I do not think they're like drowning or they're in big trouble or anything of that sort. Yes, I think we're all going to have the memories of that Colorado series from 2021 where Vegas went down 2-0 and came back and won all 4, and it made it look like kind of a frustrated Colorado team. There is a bit of feel of that for right now, but to me, I still think there's enough offense, there's enough that's going to be there, and if they can just continue defending the transition well enough, I don't know that Dallas is going to all of a sudden be any sort of offensive juggernaut that's going to put them under all that much pressure. Vegas led this game not once, but twice. Vegas led this game 2 times, and both times, well, at least one of them, the first one, a wacky goal got them back in it. The other one, a terrible penalty behind the play. I disagree with Cassidy that they didn't have to call that penalty. I do not agree. I thought that absolutely was a penalty on Pietrangelo. He high-sticked the guy in the face. The Stevenson one, I thought was absolutely a penalty. He cross-checked him once, no call there. Cross-checked him again, and as far as I thought I saw, he broke his stick on him. Not really anything you could do about that. So to me, get back to playing your best game. The Golden Knights have played 0 of their best games in this series. There have been good stretches. There have been good periods. There has not been a great game to this point. If they can play a great game in the next one, they can put themselves within 1 game of finding a way to the end. These games are going to be tight. These games are going to be difficult, but the Golden Knights have shown the ability to score enough, even with an offense that is limited right now and a middle 6 that's not doing all that much. I think that they're still going to find a way. I initially picked out Vegas in 7. I'm going to stick with Vegas in 7 at the moment. Yes, I understand what I was saying after Game 2. I did not expect Vegas's puck mismanagement to all of a sudden become a massive problem in the home games. It all of a sudden has. The offensive issues that I saw have actually gotten worse. I was not expecting that after 2 games and coming home either. How do I feel about the 4th line? I feel like they're doing their job. I feel like they're getting the puck in deep. They've been the best at forechecking. They've been the best at eliminating those plays up the wall. I just don't think there's enough offense there to really feel like they're going to get much more than maybe 1 every 3rd game or so. They got their 1 from Hannafin in Game 2. Maybe we can get 1 in Game 5, 6, or 7. That one may be the difference in the series. I don't think that needs to be changed. If it were to be changed, I'd want to see probably Barbashev down there on that line to get more of that and to have a little bit more scoring. I do not expect that to happen. I absolutely think they're going to come back. Do I feel bad for being confident after Game 2? No, I do not. I think after Game 2, I saw what I thought we were going to see in this series. They continued to execute the plan perfectly. They were basically eliminated all of their puck management issues, and now they have cropped back up. The forecheck has dissipated as the time has gone on. It came back a little bit tonight. I did not expect that to be the case. For this team to be all of a sudden back to some of the challenges that they went through all season, despite being healthy, or at least pretty darn healthy. Yeah, whatever's going on with Carlson and you're missing Haig, but seemingly fairly healthy. I did not expect a step back. I did not expect some of these goofy goals to go in. I certainly did not expect the blitz that they got in game 3. They mismanaged the puck a million times. They were not very good through the neutral zone, things they were not doing in Dallas. Hopefully, heading back to Dallas in game 5, we're going to see more of what we saw on the last particular 2 games up there. I thought Vegas was the better team in both of them. I believe they can be the better team yet again. Where does Hertl start in game 5? That's a very good question. Again, I think the best option, and I don't know that they're going to go to this, but I believe the best option is Carlson in the middle of Stevenson and Stone. Or if you want to put Carlson on the wing and have Stevenson eventually be the center, I would say Carlson's the center. Stevenson can take the draws. That would probably leave Hertl as the third-line center. Then you have to make the decision. Is Howden the right answer with that? Is that going to be a forecheck line? Are you going to try to get the puck in? What does that look like? Is it a Matteo and Dorofeev? Is it Howden and Dorofeev? Are you moving Carrier up and trying to do something else? Do you want Wah there? I don't know. But to me, probably I think he's going to stay in the same spot. If I were to guess, that's where I would expect him to stay. I would probably move him. I don't think the success has been there. So to me, I would move them. I do not think they should pair Theodore and Hanifin together. I think whatever we're getting from McNabb has been excellent. I'd leave him with Theodore. I don't like the idea of putting those two together and basically giving all the defensive shifts to Pietrangelo and McNabb. I just doesn't make sense to me. I think there would have been an argument at this point if Haig were healthy to potentially go back to Hanifin Haig and then give Pietrangelo to maybe McNabb or give Pietrangelo to Whitecloud or Martinez or whatever you decide you want to do. I don't think we have that situation because Haig's not available. Wise 20 on the power play if you won't shoot. Yeah, I understand that. Power play's not been an issue. They're operating at about 50%. Power play's not been the problem. Let's see. Do I think Haig is going to play by game 6? I don't. I think that Haig's out for the series. I think Haig might be out longer than that. I do not get a good feel on that one, just solely based on the fact that he has not skated. The farther it goes, the more he will have to skate before he can actually get into a game. Throwing him back into a game is going to be difficult also because I don't necessarily think Martinez has been all that bad. Maybe he wasn't very good in game 3. I thought he was better today. He's certainly not among the top 3 worst defensemen on the team in these last 2 games, or it's certainly not this game, at least I would say. So that's a tricky one. I don't think I would mess with them. I think you got to leave it as it is and hope that the puck mismanagement dissipates a little bit. Thanks again to the Jimmerson Law Firm for sponsoring all Periscopes this season. Game 4 Periscope is done now with this one, and we will be back for Game 5. I am traveling tomorrow in the morning thanks to Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling. I'll have more information about them once I hit the road. We'll be back for Game 6 here. I don't know if we're going to be able to fit a podcast in between that. We may have to figure out what we're doing on the other way, on the other side of this series, whatever happens after that. We'll see if we're going back for Game 7. I don't know. We will find out. Thanks again to the Jimmerson Law Firm. Thanks to Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling for sending me on the road. I'll be in Dallas tomorrow. Maybe we'll do something tomorrow night. Probably more likely in between if I decide to go that route. But probably the next time we do something like this will be after Game 5 in Dallas. But we will see. That's it. Good night. See ya.